There's a hidden tax draining away your wealth every single day, and most people don't even realize it's happening. It's not inflation, it's not interest rates, it's not even government policies, although they make everything worse. My friends, this hidden tax is isolation, and it's robbing you of wealth, opportunity, and financial security. For centuries, people built wealth through community, through relationships, through a sense of shared knowledge. But today, we've created a world where you can go days, maybe even weeks, without real human connection. We think we're optimizing for convenience, but the truth is we're paying for it in ways we don't even see. If you ever feel like opportunities pass you by, wealth building feels impossible, or you're just stuck in a cycle where nothing ever changes, this is why. And today I'm going to show you how to break free, how to build real wealth, and how to make sure you never pay this tax again. Now, first off, I want to welcome you to the Wealth Outside of Wall Street YouTube channel, where we expose the financial lies that keep you trapped and show you the strategies to take back control over your money and ultimately your life. In this video, I'm going to be sharing a story inspired by the amazing Codie Sanchez, an absolute powerhouse when it comes to thinking differently about business and investing. She recently wrote an article about how isolation is making people poor, and she's absolutely right. The wealthy have always understood that wealth isn't just about money. In fact, wealth is a derivative of connections. It's about people, your network and your community and your connections. These open doors, they create opportunities and they accelerate your success faster than anything possible. In fact, for me, as I look back over my own life, every single step forward, every single breakthrough, every single great investment, it always came through connections, through opportunities, by relationships first. Tony Robbins says the secret to wealth is simple. Find someone who's already done it and just model their behavior. In other words, you need a who that makes the how easy. And trust me, I've learned this the hard way. When I first started my journey to financial freedom, I thought I could do it alone. In fact, I'm an introvert by nature, and so I just thought if I read books, if I studied the strategies, I could just figure out how to maverick my way through it. But no matter how much I learned, I kept second guessing myself because every step forward was a step into the complete unknown. I would constantly question, what is the next step? Am I doing it right? Am I going to mess this thing up? And I was stuck in a cycle of one step forward and usually two steps back. Then I decided to hire a coach. One simple move, and I accomplished more in 6 months than I had in the last 5 years of struggling on my own. He showed me a proven path, and he pointed out the pitfalls, and he gave me the confidence to move forward. But even then, I still had doubts. I knew his system worked because obviously it had worked for him, but I still wasn't sure if it was going to work for me. And then, I'll never forget, he invited me to a networking event. Now, this was the last thing on earth I thought I needed to achieve financial freedom. And I'm not big on social events, and I didn't really want to be there. So when I showed up, I just kind of sat in the back of the room. I pulled my hat low, I folded my arms, and pretended like I was too cool to even engage. That was the biggest mistake I could have ever made, because in that room was every single answer that I had been searching for in books and podcasts and courses. There were in that room person after person who stood up, young, old, men, women, entrepreneurs, and busy professionals, everyone. But they all had one thing in common. They were committed to financial freedom, and as they shared their challenges, their wins, and their results, something inside of my brain clicked. I finally believed that it was possible not just for them, but possible for me, because I was sitting in a room full of undeniable proof. I realized if they could do it, then I can do it. And here's the truth, my friends. When your belief changes, the only variable is time. Everything is a mental game before it's an external game. That's what a community does. It gives you belief, it gives you support, and it gives you proof when you're taking on something most people think is impossible. So today in this video, we're going to dive into how isolation is robbing you of your wealth and opportunity, why community as an investor is your greatest competitive advantage, and the two financial principles that never change: certainty and growth. Those two combined create the dance of life, a foundation of certainty and an opportunity to grow. So if you're ready to rethink the way you build wealth, then stick around. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, because this is the kind of information that will put you ahead. So first off, let's talk about the biggest financial mistake you don't even realize you're making. For centuries, wealth was built through relationships, shared knowledge, and a strong sense of community. I want you to think about it. The wealthiest people in history, they didn't operate alone, ever. They were merchants, traders, and investors who leveraged their networks to build wealth. But today, that's disappearing like crazy. Check out this graph to see what I mean. This is the percent decline in face-to-face interaction between human beings across age groups, across demographics, across ethnicities. You can see every single person, no matter who you are, no matter what category you fall into, there's a massive decline of at least 5 to 10% in your face-to-face interaction with other human beings. And it goes as high as 40%. My friends, this is a demoralizing and destructive trend that is setting into human beings. Isolation. In the last 2 decades, in-person socializing has dropped more than 20%. Solo dining, just going out on your own, that's increased nearly 30% in just the last 2 years, and I've directly contributed to that statistic. We've been trained to believe that convenience is the goal. I mean, we can order food online, we can work from home, we can shop from our phone, and while it does seem easier, what we've actually done is we've disconnected ourselves from opportunity. And here's why that matters. Wealth isn't just about what you know, it's about who you know. The right relationships bring business deals, investment opportunities, and access to strategies that most people have never heard about. I'm living proof of that. I had never heard about the pathway to become financially free using the passive income machine until I connected with other like-minded individuals that showed me it wasn't just a dream, it was a reality. It was possible for me. The people who understand the power of networking, the power of relationships, it's not like they just survive in the average world, they thrive in this economy. This is how real investments get passed around. You will never see them break on the 5 o'clock news. They're always passed around in close-knit relationships behind closed doors. So let's look at what happens when community disappears and why it's already playing out in real time. I want you to take Japan, for example. Right now, thousands of profitable businesses are shutting down. Not because they failed, but because the owners have no one to pass the business to. I mean, imagine that. There's a profitable money-making business and no network to be able to pass it to. This article right here explains the entire phenomenon. The owners built the businesses alone. They didn't create networks or succession plans. And now the wealth that they created is just disappearing. It's evaporating almost overnight. And the same thing is happening in America. Baby boomers own the majority of small businesses, and every single day, more of them hit that retirement age. Most don't have a plan. Most don't have someone ready to take over, and thousands of cash flowing businesses are about to shut down forever. This puts more power in the hands of the elite and takes away the opportunity from people just like you and me. This is the power of connection, of relationships. Now, here's where smart investors see an opportunity. Instead of watching wealth disappear, they're stepping in. They're acquiring these businesses, these assets, these income streams. And the same applies to real estate. Look around you. Institutions are buying up residential properties at record levels. Why? Well, because they know something that most people don't. Real estate always wins. So how do you make sure you're playing the game the right way? Well, it starts with investing in 2 financial foundations that never change. Jeff Bezos once said, instead of predicting what will change, focus on what will never change. That's how you build a dynasty. When it comes to building wealth, 2 things will never actually change. Number 1, the power of connections, the power of relationships. I want you to consider this. Today in the world that we live in, there is an overload of information. There is so much information on any single topic that you could simply binge for the rest of your life. You could have the sense that you are making progress because you're getting smarter, but nothing in your world is actually changing. The way to go from information to application is almost always through a connection. It's almost always through a network. What's the right way to start? What are the right opportunities? How do you get going in a profitable way? A coach can make such a powerful example. I'll never forget when I very first started my pathway to financial freedom. Like I shared earlier, I was trying to do it all on my own. I second-guessed myself at every single step, but the second I sat down and wrote a $10,000 check, I'll be honest with you, that felt like the biggest expense of my life. But in the next 6 months, as I had that coach behind my back showing me every step of the process that I was stepping into, because all he was doing is technically looking back. He was just looking back saying, hey, when I was in your shoes, here's how I navigated these problems. Here's how I found these opportunities. Here's how I dealt with all of these issues that came up and made sure I made a profit. He was guiding me through a pathway that he had already been through, rather than me trying to figure out the pathway on my own. I wrote that $10,000 check, and over the next 6 months, my life radically changed forever. Since that time, the number 1 investment I make every single year is who do I need in my corner? Whether I need to improve my financial life, whether I need to improve my taxes, whether I need to improve my marriage or my relationships or my health and fitness, I always look for a who, not a how solution. Now, you might think to yourself, oh, that's just a benefit of having a lot of money, but it's not. I made these investments when I had no money. And here's the reality about these type of investments. A who, not how solution will collapse decades for you, my friends. When I hire a coach, I literally buy a decade of my life back, because a coach is generally, if you hire the right one, someone who's already done the thing that you want to do, who's developed a certain amount of expertise, and if you follow the rule of expertise, it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert in anything. Rather than me going through 10,000 hours of trial and error, what if I just bought it all at once? This is the power of a coach and the power of relationships. Now, in addition to a coach being able to coach you, a coach is generally connected to other like-minded individuals, to other opportunities that are relevant to what you're pursuing. And the best investment you can make is always through your network. That's foundation number one. That gives you a sense of certainty. Because when things go wrong in your life, you need to know that you can pick up your phone and call the people that are in your corner to get you out of a mess. My friends, I'm going to invite you to consider that the best investment you can make is becoming the type of person that someone else relies on, that someone else will call, and connecting with other people that can accelerate your pathway forward. Be someone of value, develop expertise, and be willing and open to share that expertise with other people. That's step number one, creating a foundation of certainty. Step number two is now growth. Now, my friends, here's where certainty and growth fit together. Tony Robbins once said that the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the amount of uncertainty you can comfortably live with. And I think that's a really interesting dichotomy when you think about it, because listen, how do we balance certainty and uncertainty together? Because those two seem polar opposite. But I want you to consider this. If your entire life was uncertain, let's say your financial life is uncertain, your professional life is uncertain, your marriage is uncertain, your health is uncertain. If everything is uncertain, then you live in a world of chaos. Everything feels like a catastrophic situation because it's chaos all around you. And human beings do not thrive in complete uncertainty. But if you can balance out that uncertainty with a foundation of certainty, you can use that foundation to step into the uncertainty in certain areas of your life and actually thrive. This is the adventure that life creates. When you can balance out certainty with uncertainty, you, my friends, thrive. Now, I teach a strategy on the YouTube channel here called the Vault Financial Strategy. For me, over the years, this has given me such a foundation of financial certainty that it's allowed me to make real investments, both financial and time investments, into things that on paper don't seem logical. Like, it's never logical to walk away from a six-figure job and start a business from scratch. It's never logical to walk away from a partnership where you're making nearly $1 million a year and start something brand new from scratch. But my friends, this is the foundation of having a bedrock of certainty. So the Vault, if you're not familiar with it, is an overfunded whole life insurance policy. Now, it gives me a sense of certainty in a few different ways. I can put money into this account, as much money as I want, and I know that I'm never going to lose it. I know that while it's in that account, it's making a tax-free rate of return, and I know because it's life insurance at its core, it's protecting me, the most valuable asset in my economy. But what this account actually does is it gives me the ability to leverage the value of my account. Let's say I've put $1 million into this account. I have $1 million now, earning a tax-free rate of return that's going to provide a future stream of tax-free income for me. But at the same time, I have the ability to leverage this account as a line of credit, a private line of credit, in fact. And it allows me to borrow the insurance company's money, which means my $1 million is still compounding and growing. I never break the compound interest curve, but I could use my money today to accomplish all of my short-term goals. This has given me the certainty that I can go out and take risks. I can go out and make some investments that don't seem logical sometimes. And when those things pay off, I can scrape the profits out of those accounts, store them in the vault, and ensure that I never go backwards. I never lose the money that I make. Every single year, I'm taking profits off the table and expanding my vault reservoir. So I'm not going to talk much about the vault in this video, but what I am going to invite you to consider is this. My friends, life is a series of connections. Life is a series of opportunities that generally come from the connections that you have. And for most people, they park their money in accounts where it's inaccessible. They put their money in a 401k and they have to wait until they're 60 to even have the opportunity to touch that money again. This means opportunities that are always present, they don't even see. They don't even have the ability to see the opportunities in front of them because they've isolated themselves from not just relationships, but from their very own capital. So my friends, with all of that being said, here's my challenge to you. Stop isolating yourself. Get plugged in. Use technology when it's convenient, but do not use technology to isolate you from the most important things in life, your connections, your relationships. Develop these relationships and watch your wealth flourish. Now, my friends, take a moment, if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment, tell me what you thought about this channel. Let's connect, and I'll see you on the next video.